What is up? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy flippinstoop. Let's face it, we all want to scale our eBay journey as fast as we can, right? Like, I have the most of the people I talk to, most of the comments I see is how do I get a certain number as fast as I can, as quick as I can, and it just makes sense, right? You want to make more money, you want to make more sales, you want to get more customers. I think we can all relate. We're all after that. We're all after sales. We're all after consistent sales. And I used to think, this is what I used to think. The more I list every day, the more sales I'm going to get. Well, from what I've learned over the past 4 years, is scaling slow is 99.9% your best bet, right? And what do I mean by that? Like, if you're just getting started today, listing 1 to 5 items a day, consistent, every day, until you get that amount of sales, 1 to 5 sales, you shouldn't be like if you shouldn't be trying to go for 10 items a day until you hit that number, right? And I made this mistake numerous times throughout my reselling journey of getting to 10 items a day, being able to do that consistent for 2 months, but I wasn't quite getting 10 sales a day. I might have been getting 6 or 7 sales a day, and then jumping it up to 15. And before I hit 15 sales a day, I was jumping it up to 25. And before I did that, I was jumping up to 35. What that does is it shortchanges yourself, right? We tend to not have enough inventory, right, to keep up with the way we want to scale. So my strong suggestion over 4 years is if you're starting today, start with 1 to 5 items. Don't buy any items. Get them right out of your house, whatever it might be, and do that consistent until you get 1 to 5 sales. Now, you can look at this method to any amount of items you're selling, period, a day, or any amount of items you're listing a day. It could be maybe you're at the 40 a day marker, or the 30, or the 20, or the 25. It doesn't matter where you're at, or 7. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter what number you're at. Don't increase the amount of items you're listing a day until you hit that amount of sales a day. Now, that can take some time, right? Especially when you're first starting. If you're first starting, you're listing 1 to 5 items a day, you don't have any inventory in your store, you don't even have a store yet, right? You don't pay for a package yet. Until you get 1 to 5 consistent sales a day, I would refer you not to increase the amount of items you're listing. I don't care if you have 50,000 items in a warehouse, right? Get to that, because this is what eBay wants to see. eBay wants to see us listing a set number a day and being consistent on that. That's it, right? That's how you get great sales. That's the mastermind summed up right there. If you've been doing it for a while and you're listing 20 a day and you never got 20 sales a day, keep doing 20 a day until you get 20 sales a day consistently. Once you get to that number, or the 18 to 20, whatever it is, right? Once you get to that number, then maybe add a few. Because that's what eBay wants to see. Are you going to be able to consistently list the amount of items you're listing every day without missing a day? That's what the algorithm really wants to see you do. See us do. It's not, oh, let's see who can scale their business the fastest. It's got nothing to do with that. Now, maybe somebody's got $100,000 to get started, or $1 million to get started, and you can hire a couple people right off the bat, which I don't even think that's a good idea, because if you don't know what you're doing, how the hell are you going to train somebody else to do what you don't know what to do, right? So, I don't even think that's even reasonable to even discuss. So yeah, I'm a firm believer is scaling slow is the way to win on eBay. It is there after, and I've only been doing this 4 years. I'm not a veteran. I haven't been doing this as long as Tech and Sports or Chris from Daily Refinement. I haven't been doing it in 7 to 10 years. But from the mistakes I've made, and I've made these mistakes of scaling too fast. I wasn't getting 20 sales a day yet, but I was listing 20 items and then jumping up to 25. You're robbing yourself of your consistent inventory, because in order to be buying 20 items a day, once you get to that level or whatever, to be buying 20 items a day and then reinvesting into that every single day, and you jump it up to 25, you're setting yourself back. You're like going backwards because you're making the struggle harder again. So if you're buying 20 items a day and selling 20 items a day and you've done that consistently, then yeah, it's probably time to scale a couple more. Buy a few more items. List a few more items. Then it's time, I believe, to scale the business. But until you hit that number, like I said, I don't care if you have 50,000 items of inventory. If you're starting out at 5 today, right? Don't list more until you hit 5 sales a day. That's just, I don't know. I always want to think the more and more and more I list, the more and more and more I'll sell, right? There's truth to that. But in the beginning, especially in the beginning, we can't keep up with continuing to add 5 items to our daily rate. You're going to put so much of a workload on yourself because, first of all, in the beginning, we don't even have a system, right? None of us have a system in the beginning. We don't know how we're going to do our inventory system. You know, when you do 5 items a day, you can kind of just do that on the spur of the moment, right? You don't need a set schedule to do 5 items a day. You can do that any time of the day. You can do that when you get home from work. You can do that before you go to work. You could do that on your fucking lunch break, depending on how you did it, right? If you did all your photos and took down the information and then went to work on your half hour or hour lunch break, you could list 5 items. But we don't have all our ducks in a row in the beginning. So to start listing, 5 items a day, and then the next week you're listing 10 items a day, then the next week you're listing 20 items a day, you're throwing way too much on your table. You're putting way too much, and this is exactly what I did in the beginning. And even after my first store went under and we picked a niche, I did the same thing. I jumped, because I had a whole bunch of inventory. I'm like, I'm going to jump right into 20 items a day. I wasn't getting 20 items of clothing sold a day, but I was still trying to think that that's the way you scale. Just do more, just do more. I don't think that's a safe way to go about it. And from my personal results, all it did was set me back. I started running short on inventory. I was stressing myself out all over looking for inventory at the cheapest amount I could get it, so I could supply the amount of items I was listing a day. So I think the slow approach, truthfully, this isn't what people want to hear. People want to scale their business from 0 sales to 100 sales a day in 6 months. That's insane. The amount that comes with 100 sales a day would be great, right? But the amount of responsibility that comes with packaging 100 items, getting them to your customer or getting them to the post office at a reasonable time, having that much supplies to be able to package that much, having the time throughout your day to be able to list 100 items, just doesn't add up for a 6-month goal. Maybe you want to do that in a year or 2 down the road, 4 years down the road. That's a good goal to stretch for. But to do that in 6 months, it's not feasible. You're going to drive yourself insane. Now, am I saying there's not some crazy person out there that couldn't make it? But I don't think eBay's algorithm works that fast from you to start on day 1 to 6 months down the road to be getting 100 sales a day. You're going to break. You're going to be working around the clock. It's going to be crazy, right? So until you get a system set up and you get good at, this is why I was talking about a niche yesterday, getting good at one thing. Because when you get it good at one thing, you don't have to think as much. In the beginning, all you're doing is thinking. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. I was boiling eggs, guys. I had to pull them off the stove. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. So it's not even feasible to be shooting for crazy numbers like that in the beginning. That's why I think a niche is so important. Get good at one thing, right? You get good at one thing. I try to use the analogy if you go apply for a job, right? Say, we'll use Walmart for an example. You got the cashiers, you got the people behind the return register or whatever, customer service register. You have the people stocking the shelves. You have the cart people. You have the greeters. Okay, there's a few people that I just named. You have the undercover shoppers or whatever that are catching shoplifters. So you have all these positions. When you go apply for this job, right, you apply for a position. You don't go apply for all 6 of those positions, right? Because you can't possibly do all 6 things. This is why they have so many different employees in a Walmart, right? You can't possibly do it all as you as one person. Now, I'm not saying you can't go out and get a cart, come back and help somebody, but you can't be consistent at one thing all day like that. So I think it's very important to pick a niche and get good at one thing, right? Whether that niche is hoodies, whether that niche is glasses, whether that niche is um, uh, glass cups, right? Plates. It doesn't matter what you do. You do whatever you want to do. The only reason I got away from the glass and stuff is because of the return rate and things getting broke. Let's face it. USPS is handling so many packages a day. It's almost impossible to handle everything with superb, gentle care. They are throwing things on a truck and they're tossing them off. I see it. So this another reason I pick clothes is because you get a lot less damaged goods when they ship clothes. Now, that's not me referring you to clothes. Clothes is a tough industry. There's a lot of people doing it, and you do get a lot of returns in them too, because no matter how good you make your titles, no matter how good you make your item descriptions, people don't read shit. They see a couple images, they purchase it, they get it home, they didn't read in the description, tag says large, fits like a medium, it don't fit them, and they want to send it back, right? So you're going to get a lot of that too. But I am a firm believer, it's really good to get good at one thing, because when you get good at one thing, you can shave time off your day, you can get more production done, you can become more efficient. It's weird because it contradicts itself. In the beginning, we all, as resellers, I've never listened to a reseller that didn't say experiment in a little bit of everything, right? Resell a little bit of everything, see what works for you, and then go after that. Then niche down and go after that. So it kind of contradicts itself. If you can get it in the beginning, right in the beginning, where you niche at something in the beginning, you're going to save yourself a tremendous amount of time. You're going to save yourself, because my whole first 12 months, I'm not saying our sales were shitty, right? I'm not saying that by no means. But the amount I've learned about one item in 12 months when I was selling everything was zilch. I didn't learn shit about anything. And none of that stuck with me because I was trying to do research on everything. If I would have picked a niche right in the beginning until now, I would be 12 months advanced of where I'm at now in the women's clothing and men's clothing. I'd be so much further. And then when I first started selling clothes, if I would have said, okay, I'm going to sell women's blouses. That's all I'm going to sell. I would know so much more about women's blouses today, and my sales would probably be so much more than they are today. Because whether we think that clothes is one niche or not, it's not, right? You don't. I said this before. You don't see Nike making like designer suits that men and women go to a professional job in. They niche down in athletic wear. Right? There's so many different niches inside the clothes industry, right? Like denim jeans is a niche in itself, right? There's still khaki pants, slacks, women's career wear where there's slacks in that. Like when I say niche down to one niche, that's what I'm talking about. Like women's career slacks, men's career slacks, men's ties, men's casual button downs. Right now, that's zeroing down, like zero focused on one niche. And when you do that, and if you list them repetitively every single day, and look up what kind of sleeve it is, is it a button down collar or a point collar? Well, you know what I'm saying? What the fit is on it, and all this. Once you do that every day, all day, day in and day out, you do that for 365 days. You don't have a choice. You're going to gain knowledge in that department, and you're going to get good at it, and you're going to get efficient at it. And that's what you're looking for when it comes to reselling, getting good at what you do. If you get good at what you do every single day in reselling, you're going to be an effective reseller. You're going to get good margins. You're going to get good sales. If you don't know what you're listing and don't know how to title and don't know what to put in the description and don't know the exact item specifics, you're going to have a lot of items on eBay people probably are not even seeing. I, in my store, probably have a lot of items in my store from in the beginning when I first started doing clothing that people are not even seeing. They're just floating around, or they're not even on the platform, even if they say they are, right? They're so far back that nobody's ever going to see them. It takes us a while to learn something. Hats, even hats, right? This is a snapback mesh hat in the back, canvas in the front, whatever you call it, knit in the front. Like, hats take a while. You know how many different, like, fedoras, or what do they call them? I don't even see. That's how lack of knowledge I have of hats. Do I sell hats once in a blue moon? I'll throw one on there. There's so many different styles of hats You can't possibly learn all the styles of hats in 1 week. I mean, unless you woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you studied them until 6 o'clock at night and you did that for 7 days in a row, then maybe you would have a lot more knowledge on it, but you can't master it. I was talking with Corey the other day on a video about what different things to invest in and stuff of that nature. He talked about the stock market, right? You can't know everything about the stock market in the week. How do people get good at the stock market? They study it every day for a certain amount of hours a day or an hour a day for the next 5 years. And that's how they become knowledgeable of the stock market. They don't just watch a video of it, absorb it all in, and be great at it. You're not just going to watch a video about eBay, absorb it all in, and be great at it. I thought you could do that. That's why I studied it for 12 months before I even listed my first item. That was a stupid mistake. Like, learn from my mistakes. Don't do that shit. Don't just watch videos and think you're going to get better, right? If you hear something that sounds good in the video, take that, apply it to your daily routine and see if it helps you. And if it doesn't, then shift, right? You have to be able to shift a lot when you're starting the reselling journey or any business. You got to be able to, like, okay, that didn't work, so let's try something else. But back to the very beginning of this video, write the number you're going to do on a pad of paper every day. Write it down, right? Do that every day for 90 days. Don't change anything for 90 days and see if that works. If it doesn't, then evaluate what did work, evaluate what didn't work, and shift what didn't work, right? If whatever it takes you to get to that amount of sales a day, nobody can give you the right number because it depends on what items you're selling, how much of demand they are in, whether they're in demand at all. Nobody can tell you, hey, it's going to take you 90 days to get 10 sales a day. Nobody can tell you that, right? Unless they absolutely know what items you have and the demand they're in and what you're pricing them at. Because all them variables are very important into your reselling journey. Your price, if you have 100 items on your store, you're listing 5 a day and nothing's selling, like, and they're admirable items, people actually want them, 90 some percent of the time, it's your prices off by, it could be $1. It could be $2. You might have it listed $10 too high. You might have it listed too low, right? If you have a hoodie listed that's worth $20 and everybody knows it's worth $20 and it's in excellent condition and you have it listed for 10, people are going to be like, there's got to be something wrong with that. That's almost, you ever hear that old thing? That's too good to be true, right? That, you know what I mean? Like, people would look at that and be like, $10. Everybody else is selling theirs for 20, and 50 of them sold in the past 2 days, and you're going to list it for 10. They're thinking automatically, even if nothing is wrong with it, they're thinking something's wrong with it. So your pricing is off. It's not always that your pricing is too high. That's a big majority of the time. If you're not getting the sales that you believe you deserve, that's a big majority of the time that it's listed maybe a couple bucks too high, maybe $10 too high, maybe $50 too high, depending on what it is, right? But the 90-day challenge thing, the 90-day thing, what struggles so many people is it's hard for us as people to do the same thing for 90 days in a row. If it wasn't, everybody be in shape, obesity wouldn't be a thing, right? Obesity wouldn't be a thing. So the consistency challenge is the most difficult thing for any of us. Me, you, anybody else watching. You see some of the greatest resellers, and they will say, and I'm not going to say their names, that's up to them to say, they will say their biggest challenge in the beginning was consistency, right? Or zeroing down on one niche. It's those two things that impact a reseller. Consistency and a niche, right? That's what really boils down to it. Because as I said about the niche yesterday and some bit today, you can't be great at selling everything. You can be good at selling everything, but you'll never be great. And if you want great results, you got to get great at what you're doing. You got to know your hoodie that you're selling in and out. You have to know exactly where to do the measurements. You got to know exactly what type of sleeve is on the woman's blouse to be the top dog blouse seller. Because if you got a pretty good freaking listing and you don't know what type of sleeve it is, but the next person has the same blouse and knows what type of sleeve it is, they're going to get the sale. Make sense? I'm not saying if you don't know the sleeve type, you'll never get the sale. Because you will. But the person that knows the sleeve type, this is where I lacked in the women's department, big. is the type of sleeve, whether it was a flutter sleeve or a cap sleeve or a casual sleeve. I messed up bad on that because I'm like, whatever. What does that matter? It matters big to women. It's big. You see thousands and hundreds of thousands of views and searches for the woman's style sleeve, right? It makes a huge difference in your listing. Tech and them were talking the other day about a quality listing, and that's what they're talking about, a quality listing. Yeah, your photos, make sure they can see the item, describe it good in your title, have a good description, but also your certain item specifics matter. Other item specifics don't matter as much. It tells you which ones matter the most. Right in the item specifics, it tells you how many people are searching for the name brand. It tells you how many people are searching for the material it is. It tells you how many people are searching for the sleeve type, right? It tells you all that by how many. Now, if there's 0 people that searched for that item specific, then maybe it's not even important or valid. You can just leave it blank. Right? I do that in a lot of my listings, but I answer every item specific to the best of my ability. I don't lie in them. If I don't know it, I don't answer it. I don't just guess. Because then if you say it's a casual sleeve and it's actually a cap sleeve or something different, and you labeled it as a casual sleeve, now it's in that department. People are looking at it, they're like, that's not a casual sleeve. They're ignoring it automatically because it's not what you classified it as, right? So I believe slow growth for sure is the ultimate way to a good, healthy, solid eBay store. If you want a solid eBay store, start slow, grow slow. Be persistent, continue to grow, but grow when your store reaches the amount of items you're listing a day. If you're listing 10 items a day and you haven't sold 10 items a day yet, keep listing 10 items a day. It will catch up to you and you will sell 10 items a day. When you do that consistent for a long enough period of time, that exact amount of sales every single day, then increase the amount of items you're listing by a few. Whatever a few means to you is up to you. I'm not going to tell you once you hit the 10 to go to 11. If you want to go to 12, go to 12. You want to go to 14, go to 14. If you believe you can stay at that number consistently. If you think you can just hit that number once a week, then don't do it. Stay at 10 until you build up enough capital to where you can get 12 a day. It really makes sense, but I overlooked all the shit that makes sense, right? Because I was in a rush. I was in a rush to get to 60 items a day. You can't be in a rush to get it. If you're in a rush to get it, you're going to fall back a lot. Trust me, I fell back a lot throughout my 4 years of reselling. And I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just sharing with you where I fucked up throughout the process of reselling. And I think, that's more educational than, telling you, hey, how to get to 6 figures a year or close to 6 figures a year or whatever it is you're trying to get to. Just hurry up and list 35 items a day. Look, I'll tell you this. If you can get to 30 to 40 items a day, every single day, sales between $10 and $30 transaction, and you can get to 30 to 40 sales a day, you can do $250,000 in sales in a fucking year. If you could do that consistent for fucking 365 days, 2 years, 3 years. But ask yourself, can you consistently list 40 items a day, every single day, for the next 600 days? Can you yourself do that and be that consistent? If so, you can have that amount of sales in a year or more. If you can't be that consistent, you're never going to get to that. It literally is. I found that with 6 hours a day-ish, I say ish because sometimes more, sometimes less, between 25 and 35 items a day, between them two, right? Here's where I messed up. I wasn't consistent. Between 25 and 35, never being on target at one certain number for long enough, we were able to just break 6 figures. If I would have stayed at 35 and not budged, we would have been over $200,000 in sales. If I would have been able to do the 35 a day, every single day, for 365 days, we would have been over the $200,000. Now, if I would have done that long enough, I'm not saying if you start today with 35 items, and by the end of year 1, you're going to be at that amount of sales. It might happen for you in year 2, but it's not going to happen for you in year 1. You're going to get a tremendous amount of growth in year one, and you're still going to grow in year two. The algorithm takes a while to catch up with you. This is why I say slow growth is so important, because they want to see you being consistent every day, not for 90 days. They want to see you be consistent for 10 fucking years, like Tekken Sports. Why do you think Tekken Sports is crushing the fucking game? Because he's been consistent for a decade plus, 13, 14 years. Consistent every day. He don't miss days, right? Items in his store are going up every day at a set number, and that number never shifts. That's how he's crushing the game. It's the consistency. Everybody, me too, guys, included. Why do you think I watched the YouTube channels, everybody's YouTube channel for 12 months? I was waiting for somebody to say a secret. The secret don't exist. The secret is consistency. That is the secret. Work ethic, inconsistency, discipline. Those three things will get you to your goals. It don't matter if you want to list 100 items a day. It don't matter if you want to list 10 items a day. It don't matter what number. Can you do it every day? If you can do it every day, you will guarantee hit your desired goal. Guaranteed. If you can't, you're not going to hit it. That's just the bottom line. There is no, once I get 4,000 items in my store, I can just go take 3 months off and I'm going to keep getting consistent sales. It ain't going to happen for you. It don't happen for nobody. Nobody does that. If that's what you're looking for, that is a fake figment. That is a fake dream you created in your head of what successful people do. Successful people do not live that lifestyle. You're thinking they're just 6 months out of the year, they're at the Bahamas and their feet are in sand and water. They're not doing that. They're working their fucking faces off. Or they worked their faces off for 30 years and finally retired and they sold their multi-million or billion-dollar business. And for the next 30 years, yeah, they can do that. But they grinded their fucking face off for 30 years or more. I've never did the research. You guys have been talking about I did research on millionaires and billionaires for 5 years. I never once did any research on anybody. I'm talking about people like Dan Pena, the big ones, like Warren Buffett, the big motherfuckers. Oprah Winfrey, none of them dicked the dog. None of them. They just did it consistently every day. And that's how they got great numbers, right? Nobody believed in Oprah in the beginning. Nobody believed in Warren Buffett in the beginning. Nobody believed in fucking Amazon in the beginning. Look at where they're at now. They just didn't give up and they kept going. First of all, nobody's going to believe in you. Second of all, it's nobody's fucking job to believe in you. It's nobody's job. It's not my job. It's not your job. I believe in everybody if they get consistent and disciplined. If you're going to be all over and scattered, nope, I don't believe you're going to get the results you want, right? That's facts in life, all areas of life. You want to get in shape? Are you going to be consistent? No, I'm going to go like once a week. Well, you're going to get once a week results. Bottom line. If that's what you want, but by all means do it. But quit lying to yourself or ourselves. Don't think you're going to be able to do this shit for 2 years and then just go take 4 years off and do whatever, man. It don't work like that, man. You have to be disciplined, consistent, and have a good work ethic. If you don't have that and you're looking to be self-employed and never have to rely on anybody else for income, then you're wasting your time. It's not going to work for you. This is why I think 99% of people, or 97, whatever it is, fail on eBay. They think they're just going to give it gas the first 3 months and then they let go of the gas. You'll never get any good results from anything in life from going at it for 90 days and then letting off the gas. You won't. You got to be full throttle. You got to make a decision. Look, when I talked to my fiance about reselling, I said I've never committed to anything ever in my life 1,000%. Have I been perfect on eBay? Fuck no. But this is what I told her. This is going to be a struggle. This is going to be the first time I ever committed to anything in my life other than her, right? Committed to something and not quit. Because everything else I did when times got tough, I fucking quit. I walked away. A lot of people do that. You know, they'll start a project. It gets to a sticky area where they don't really want to challenge themselves, and then they'll walk away and never touch that project again. I told you guys I always had like 30 fucking projects started, and none ever got finished. That was the reason why, because I never committed 100% to it. If you commit to eBay 1,000%, regardless of what it throws at you. If you commit to it and your work ethic is not compromised, if you will not compromise your work ethic, right? Most of us can be bought. And what do I mean by that? Somebody's panties getting a bunch because you're working too much and you're not spending enough time with them, and you feel bad and you say, okay, yeah, fuck eBay, I'll just keep hanging out with you on the weekends so I can let my dreams go to the wayside. If you're willing to sell your work ethic like that, you're not going to make it ever. You can't worry about what other people think of you and whether other people approve of what you're doing. It's not your obligation to make other people happy. I lived the big majority of my life trying to do that, and it don't work. Okay, don't you be the miserable one. So if you can have like an unbreakable fucking work ethic and an uncompromisable consistency, you will be one of the top dogs on eBay. If you can't do that, you're going to struggle. It's going to be a struggle. One of my biggest struggles I've had thus far, and I've been talking about it in a few of my videos, is the consistency key. I have not gave up. I wanted to numerous fucking times. Numerous times I want to throw in the towel and say, fuck this shit. I'm fucking over it, right? And the only reason I thought that way is because I wasn't getting the results that I was looking for yet. That's the only reason. When results are going good and I'm being consistent and the numbers hitting every single fucking day and I'm watching the green arrow fucking pointing up, I'm stoked. But when the reverse of that happens, I get my panties in a bunch and I get down on myself, right? And the only person that can stop us from our growth on eBay is us. It's not eBay sitting there with a little magnet on us like, fuck their store, right? eBay's not doing that. They want to see everybody win. Because if we're not winning on eBay, they're not winning on eBay. You guys remember, hundreds of thousands of items are going up every single day. There's 7 million resellers. Some are cranking some big numbers, like Tech and Sports. Last time I remember, they were doing 250 or 300, some crazy number a day, right? You imagine every 4 days they're putting 1,000 items into their inventory. If you're selling men's sportswear and vintage sportswear, you're competing with that. Now, I'm not telling you not to go after that, right? But you got to remember, when somebody's looking for a vintage Nike t-shirt, 90% of the time they're hitting Tech and Sports store. You think about how many items he's putting up a day and how much we're putting up a day. So if you want to get into that realm, you have to scale slow. You have to start at 1 to 5. I'm not telling you where you got to start, but logically thinking now back on the 4 years I've been doing it, I would have made way more progress if I would have started at 1 to 5 and got to 5 sales. Okay? And then when I got to 5 sales, I added 2 more and made that 7 sales. Because what happens is the compound interest grows so much faster than we can even imagine. But when we're all over the place, our sales are all over the place. So if you can't stay consistent at 5 items a day for 90 days, how in the fuck are you going to do it with 30? Right? This is what fucked me up so much in reselling so far. Is I would say, oh babe, yesterday I was able to list 45 items and it only took me 6 hours. She's like, good job. But then I thought, fuck, can I do that every day? And at that point in time, I could not do that every day. I couldn't do that every day. I would have been working more than 8 hours a day. At that time, I was very slow. 8 hours a day, and I would have ran out of inventory the first week. And then what? Okay, it looked real cool for a week. eBay was like, they're onto something. And then all of a sudden, for the next week, I can't provide them with the amount that I was cranking. eBay's like, stop his traffic. That's exactly what they do. So, pick a number you can for sure do, right? Once you get to that amount of sales, then start scaling. Now, I'm not telling you not to challenge yourself. If you got 1,000 items and I say to do 5 items a day and you think you could do 6, so do 6, right? I'm not telling you not to challenge yourself. But I think you should challenge yourself smartly, right? I went to, here's a prime example of that. I started going to the gym again roughly on the 22nd, it'll be 4 months ago. I went in the gym, gung-ho, guys, 2 times a day, right? Mid-afternoon and an evening workout. I would go right when I took my fiance to work, and then after she got out of work, we'd go again. So I'm hitting every muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, Great idea, right? Here's what I'm thinking. Great idea. I'm going to gain double the progress as anybody else in this gym because I'm going to go 2 times a day. Here's what I didn't realize is my body couldn't keep up with it. I got an injury in my elbow, all kinds of shit. I was actually overworking my body. So my body started going backwards. So now I'm back down to 1 time a day, same intensity, good intensity, 1 time a day. I'm gaining more results. My weight is increasing because I'm giving myself the allotted amount of time to heal now. I wasn't giving myself time to heal. If you're not giving yourself time to heal in the in-between of reselling, you're gonna go backwards. If you're like, oh, I got 1,000 items, so I can do 30 items a day, and all you've ever done was your max, we'll say your max listing was 30, you're not going to be able to consistently do that every day, especially if you're selling everything, right? That's gonna get really difficult. It's gonna start eating at you, and eventually those 1,000 items are going to be down to none. And if you didn't invest back in right proper, you're not going to be able to keep up at that rate. So grow slow. Look, I've heard this many a times. Resellers say this, that the turtle does win the race in eBay. The turtle wins the race all the time. The rabbit burns out, right? Rabbit speed burns out. People with rabbit speed, they burn out and they die out. And here comes the little fucking turtle that was going Mach 2 miles an hour, passing the rabbit that's passed out on the side. And that's exactly what happens. Compound interest. If you keep at the same number and you keep going, you will get that amount of sales. As long as you're, like I said, as long as you're listing something that's actually people want, right? At this day and age, like I said, you can search anything on eBay and it will pop up. Like literally, there'll be something, everything. So scale slow. Don't do what I did. I fucked up. I scaled fast, and then it put me back at day one. Basically, I've done that a couple different times where I failed at the scaling process because I wanted it too bad. I wanted it too fast. Don't want it fast. Just know, look, this is going to be a process. This is going to take time, and just give yourself that time. You'll be much more satisfied with the results in the future. We all want it, and we want it now. I'm the same way, guys. When I want something, I want that shit right the fuck now. I do not want to wait 10 years to be there. But if we won't do that, then in 10 years, we'll be in the same spot we're in today. The choice is yours. It's all hard. It's all hard, right? I heard Andy Frisella say this a lot. That's the owner of First Forum, and he's got the channel Real as Fuck. Anybody wants some motivation or encouragement on business, I highly recommend you check out Andy Frisella's page. It's a Real as Fuck. Super good podcast. A lot of subscribers. They talk some real good business shit. This is coming from a guy 24 years of experience of running a multi-million-dollar business, and he gives all the secrets. And the secrets are no different than what the fuck I'm saying, because a lot of knowledge that I've learned throughout this 4 years is exactly what the fuck he's saying. It's exactly what he's saying. But he always says it too. Just stay consistent at your routine daily, and you will scale that way. You're trying to jump from 5 to 25 items a day. You're gonna fucking fall on your ass. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you that. And I hope somebody proves me wrong throughout this video and is able to achieve that. Right? I hope somebody is. But we can only take on so much more at a time. You can't be bench pressing 185 and want to get to 315 and think you're going to get there in 2 fucking weeks. Your body's not going to be able to handle that. You're not going to get there. And if you are, you're probably some weird form of fucking alien or something. I don't know. Something crazy. So it is the slow growth. If I could do it all over, if today was my first day in reselling and I knew what I knew now, this is what I'd do. I'd pick one niche. That one niche would probably be women's tops. Okay, well, whether that's casual button-down tops, career tops, tank tops, sweaters, blouses, right? That's probably the area I would be in. Why? Because there's the most of that around the thrift stores that I'm at, and I've learned some name brands that sells consistently. And I learned how to measure them, and how to fill out the item specifics for them properly. So I'd probably do that. I would start out at 5. Right? Even though I know I can list 35 items a day right now, I would list 5. And I would wait until I got 5 sales. And once I got 5 sales, I'd probably go up to 8 because I know how much I can list today. And then once I got 8 sales, I'd go up to 12. And once I got 12 sales or 10, 12 or 10 sales, then I would increase that. And that's how I'd grow instead of the way I did it. I started out this new store, listing 10 items a day. Once I started getting consistently 4 to 5 sales, I was like, yeah. So I jumped up to 15, and then I didn't even give that fucking 2 weeks, and I was at 25, and I didn't even give that a week, and I was doing 30. That just did nothing but make my life a miserable hell. Don't make it any harder on yourself. Grow slow, grow right, dominate eBay. It's your boy Flip the Stoop.